evening. Hello and welcome to the most comprehensive exit polls ahead of counting day. That's right. Voting is almost over across two big southern states and one union territory, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Puducherry. The ballots have almost fully been cast, bringing a curtain being drawn to a long drawn out 2016 political marathon. And now will be the time in a short while from now where we bring you the results of the India Today Axis APM exit polls from all the key battleground states. Focus this evening is entirely on the big battle, the battle for 2016 and the exit poll numbers. Let me tell you first why this battle of 2016 matters so much. Why are we paying so much attention? First of all, victory for the BJP in Assam. Critical because it will boost the Amit Shah, Narendra Modi duo, particularly at a time when after the 2015 setbacks in Delhi and Bihar. On the other hand, a defeat here would really set them back and would mean that the duo have lost some of their election magic clearly. On the other hand, if the Congress loses Assam and Kerala, it will be in power in just 5 states, including just 3 small states of the northeast. So this could be a big election for the Congress. The left needs a win in either Kerala or Bengal to retain any national footprint. So this is a big election for the left as well. Importantly, the results here will set the stage for the big elections of early 2017, particularly Uttar Pradesh, also Punjab and Uttarakhand. And the shape of the Rajya Sabha in the next 2 years will depend on all these key state election results if the BJP wants to push towards a majority in the Rajya Sabha. So this is as big an election as it can get. Let me introduce my guest. Joining me now, Pro Vice Chancellor of Jain University, old friend of mine, political scientist, Professor Sandeep Shastri has come from Karnataka after travelling across the southern states, and he will give us a sense of what's been happening in that battle for the south. Manisha Priyam, another familiar face, joins us. One of the country's eminent political scientists, also has been travelling across these states and therefore has a ground view of what's been happening. Javed Ansari, our national affairs editor, is with us and he will give us the perspective from the newsroom. Malini Chatterjee, senior editor and national affairs editor of the Telegraph, is with us, and she knows Bengal better than most and she will give us a sense of what's been happening in that battleground state. And Ashok Malik, senior journalist, is joining us and he will give us his perspective on what has been happening in these states. We'll have many more guests joining us through this evening and we'll be going to our reporters across the state. Just a reminder that the voting actually ends at 6 p.m. in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry, which means the earliest we can actually give you the numbers as per the Election Commission is 6:30. We will start giving those big numbers, but we're going to give you a teaser as to what is likely to have happened in these states. Remember, voting is still on. Let's take a look at those pictures that are still coming in from voting that's going on in Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Kerala even as we speak. Remember, in all these 3 states, there is still voting taking place at the moment. Our correspondents have fanned out to all these states where voting is still going on. As I said, they've extended the voting hours in these states, and therefore these are the states that we will be looking at also closely. The states of Kerala, the states of Puducherry and the states of Tamil Nadu where voting is still going on. But I want to get first reactions from my studio guests before I go to my reporters. And I'm going to look at state by state, but before that, the national picture. Is this a mini general election or would that be an exaggeration given the fact that the BJP in particular doesn't have much at stake outside Assam?
Rajdeep, it may not be a mini general election, but it is a mid-term election because it's nearly 2 years at the end of the BJP-led NDA's tenure.
In fact, so, just a reminder to our viewer, this day 2 years ago, you and I were there together celebrating or at least declaring Narendra Modi's victory in 2016. So in that sense,
but go ahead. These 4 elections are important because the 2 major national parties, the BJP and Congress, are battling it out. As you rightly said, the Congress's position in 2 critical states is at stake. And if they were to lose those states, their presence in the states is reduced tremendously. BJP is pitching for it in Assam. State-based parties are key players in states like Tamil Nadu and West Bengal. So I think it's a very critical midterm election in that sense.
Manisha Priyam, is it to be seen as in any form an election which really is far more important possibly for the Congress this time than even for the BJP? Narendra Modi doesn't seem to have as much at stake as the Congress has.
Well, a lot at stake for the Congress, certainly. If Assam were to go out, one of their prized chief ministers, Tarun Gogoi, really the gem, the jewel in their pack would not be there. And if Umman Chandi does not hold on to Kerala, which it seems very unlikely that he will, two key states out of their hands, and that would really write a very a declining script surely for the Congress. But I don't agree with you when you say not as much for the BJP, a lot for the BJP, because here is a party that's trying to set itself up for the first time in the Northeast, and whether it wins or not, it is the axis around which both parties, the UDF and the LDF, say they are fighting the BJP. So a party that's likely to win not more than 2-3 seats, if it does in Kerala, seems to be the party that everybody is fighting. In West Bengal, it said it would, but it didn't on the ground. So in a sense, very important for the BJP as well. And that assessment must be done of the BJP, of what it did in each of these states and how far it went fighting the battle itself. In some it fought,
I will still persist with my line that this is perhaps an election where the Congress has more at stake than the BJP. Yeah. Javed Ansari, let's be clear. If the Congress loses both Assam and Kerala, as some polls have indicated, it's down to 5 states, and those 5 states include Meghalaya, Mizoram and Manipur. The other 2 being Uttarakhand, that goes to the polls next year, and Himachal. You could actually have the possibility, and Karnataka, you could actually have the possibility of a Congress Mukt Bharat. Is that something that should worry? Is that why the Congress will look at these results even more closely than the BJP will today?
Well, certainly there's a lot more riding in it for the Congress than it is for the BJP. The Congress will have really shrunk to an all-time low. I can't remember another occasion in history where Congress was this bad, where they were doing this bad with just 5 or 6 states in their hands, Karnataka being the only big state. So it will affect their position in the Rajya Sabha, it will affect their position vis-a-vis the vice president's election and the president's election, which will happen next year. But I don't think it will alter the balance of power or in any way at the center, because look, this is what we said before the Bihar elections. The BJP got routed and yet they're continuing merrily. So the BJP is very comfortably placed whichever way this election goes.
Is the BJP as comfortably placed as I've made it out to be, Manini Chatterjee? Because they had a pretty bad 2015. Disastrous debacles in Delhi and in Bihar. To that extent, am I right when I suggested Assam is key? The BJP has to win Assam this time to recover some kind of lost ground compared to 2015.
No, I think Assam is key because it will show that Amit Shah's, since he was this magician when he won the 2014 elections, especially after the BJP's performance in UP, and we in the media tend to go overboard when somebody wins and we just throw them by the wayside when they lose. After that, his performance has been less than impressive. Delhi and Bihar. So it is important for Amit Shah, but I would go along with Javed to say that regardless of the results, even if they were to do badly, despite what happened in Bihar, it was only in television studios and newspaper editorials. I mean, there's been no change. It's not as though Mr. Modi has become more accommodative or,
that's interesting. Ashok Malik, I saw a piece you wrote where you said that actually the BJP has recovered lost ground since Bihar. That the general perception that this was a government in decline has been arrested. Now, many will say therefore that state elections don't matter. That it's we in the media who make every election a test for Modi, a referendum on Modi. This is a referendum on Jayalalitha, on Mamata Banerjee, on Umman Chandi, on Gogoi, on Sitaram Yechuri. It's a referendum on state leaders. Let's forget and create a disjunction between state elections and the national election.
I see your point, but the article you referred to spoke about the Modi government, which had lost ground say around November last year, recovering some ground. I would like to distinguish the Modi government from the Amit Shah Modi BJP. The two are, they are obviously united, but they are also separate. Like Parni said, after many good victories in 2014, in 2015 the BJP suffered 2 big defeats. This Assam is important to show that there is still juice in this Modi Amit Shah election machine. So in that sense it is important. But yes, the Congress has a lot to attest. It has to stop the BJP in Assam. It has to curtail Mamta. I don't think they can defeat Mamta, but at least curtail her marginal victory with the left in Bengal. The larger message is in 2014, the BJP peaked by grabbing territory from both the Congress and regional parties. In the intervening 2 years, the regional parties have clawed their way back. The Congress has not quite.
You don't seem to agree. You're shaking your head when you heard Ashok talk about regional party. This election is big for the regional parties. It's it will once again reflect perhaps that there are certain parts of the country which are dictated by regional politics.
If as we see, the news for the Congress is not going to be very good in Assam and Kerala, then the real challenge to the BJP at the national level will come from the state-based party alliance. And then in that sense, what happens in Tamil Nadu and West Bengal becomes critical. To say that this election result is not critical for the BJP at the center, I think would be ignoring the ground reality of politics. That if the party were not able to achieve the targets it set, that is winning Assam and making a big splash in West Bengal and Kerala, if that were not to happen, I'm sure there would be a lot of questions, uncomfortable questions.
But how does it affect Mr. Modi's government? Whatever happens today, I'm looking at it from Mr. Modi's perspective. Today, he is celebrating 2 years since his famous victory. If he were to lose on the 19th, in 3 days' time, how does life change at all for him?
Look at the amount of time and energy he has invested in the campaign in these states.
Not even half as much compared to what he did in Bihar.
No, so is there a lesson?
Not even half as much.
No, is there a lesson that the Prime Minister in 2015 invested a lot of political capital in state elections? This time, to some would say to his credit, he has stayed away.
In Bihar in 2015, Mr. Modi invested way beyond he needed to, frankly. It was unwarranted. Having said that, if the BJP wins in Assam and if the Congress loses all 3 states, let's face it, dynamics in Delhi will change. Maybe not dramatically, but they will change. But let's not run away from that.
You believe they will change? I mean, I'm just wondering, what is it that our viewers should be looking for? One minute. One by one. What is it that the viewer should be looking for in this election? If you were to look at A, B, C, what are the 3 big bullet points that we should be looking for as the numbers will come up in an hour from now?
The slogan of Congress Mukt Bharat will seem to be more of a realizable thing. But who takes the crumbs at the ground? It could be Mr. Modi, it could be other parties. And by the way, Mr. Modi is not the enemy of regional parties. In West Bengal itself, he started by fighting, he and Mr. Amit Shah started by fighting the elections. But by the end of it, he was an implicit ally of the regional party there. So in a sense, Mr. Modi is also choosing and cherry picking in a sense of which ones are the ones that he would like to favor.
I'm just wondering whether we should make, and this was made in the Indian Express this morning by Professor Suhas Palshikar, a distinction between a Congress Mukt Bharat and Achhe Din. These are 2 different concepts. Mr. Modi is going to still have to provide Achhe Din if he wins in 2019. This battle is about state leaders, where you are fighting in the background of what happened in Uttarakhand, what's happened in Arunachal Pradesh, where there is a sense that the BJP wants to go for the kill in state elections and defeat the Congress at all costs. Can I make that distinction? That this election is about Congress Mukt Bharat as far as the BJP is concerned. It's not about Achhe Din.
It's about politics more than governance.
It's about politics more than governance. I think that's the point I'm trying to make.
But I think we also have to take into account that in both Assam and Kerala, it is the Congress's turn to lose. I mean, it would be tremendous if the Congress, if Mr. Gogoi won a 4th term. It'll be a,
So you're saying anti-incumbency in its natural form will hit the Congress. It may not necessarily reflect a decline in the Congress.
No, I'm saying that it would be seized upon by Mr. Modi as another evidence of Congress Mukt Bharat. But in Assam is a different case. Assam, I think, is the key for BJP because that's the state where they are in a position where people who travel there, they think they can actually form the government there. In the other places, they're playing spoiler, or we have to compare how the BJP does compared to 2 years ago. They did phenomenally well in Kerala, Bengal, and even Tamil Nadu.
Which is the state that the Congress will... Which is the state, if the BJP is today looking at Assam as their critical state, which is the critical state, Javed, that the Congress is looking for in this election? The one that they need.
Without doubt, Assam.
The Congress also is looking at Assam as their critical state.
In Kerala, it's a given. It's almost a given that every 5 years there's a change.
That's been the case for the last 50 years. So the Congress will turn around and say it's been happening for the last 50 years.
But what is critical is this is a square off between the Congress and the BJP, 1-to-1, almost 1-to-1. in the state of Assam, and that's what they need to win. Because remember, if they lose this, they will not have won any election since 2014. They are an alliance partner in Bihar, and by virtue of that, they've won that election.
It's interesting because we are not, the one state that we've hardly spoken about so far is Tamil Nadu. And I would have thought in any, the exit pollster's nightmare today is going to be how to pick Tamil Nadu. Is that a state which matters in the larger national context, or is it in a sense, and I know people on social media will hate me for saying this, a country on its own. It's working to its own logic. Whether it's the freebie culture, whether it's the battle over prohibition, whether it is money power, Tamil Nadu is really a state sui generis in many ways in this election.
Rajdeep, all these states...
It doesn't matter what Mr. Modi does, doesn't matter what...
It's always been like that.
No, so I'm just wondering, therefore, are we saying that states like that, and to an extent Bengal, will have no impact on the national...
See, Rajdeep, if you ask...
They will have on the picture of the Raj Sabha, they will have a picture on who becomes president and who doesn't become vice president.
That's an interesting point, yes, Ashok.
Politically, there are three things I'm looking for from these elections. One, who wins Assam, BJP or Congress?
Yes.
Second, to what degree can the BJP emerge as a disruptive force in Kerala? Third, in Bengal, the Congress CPM alliance, how many seats can it actually win? How much can it trouble Mamata? These are the three big factors.
Because, let's take a look, for example, before I take a break, on that Congress CPM alliance. An alliance which has been forged, perhaps in the backdrop of what happened in Bihar, that arithmetic matters in elections. That if you can bring together as many parties, even unlikely allies together, you have a chance. So if the Congress left alliance does reasonably well in Bengal, it might offer a model for 2019. Bring together as many parties together with the sole purpose then of defeating Mr. Modi.
The only caveat that if this Congress CPM alliance is doing well only in a particular belt of West Bengal, then I will look at it still as vote bank.
But if it does well across the state,
if
it
Malda,
offers a challenge,
then it's not a scalable
matters,
model.
but chemistry matters as much. You see,
not a scalable
in Tamil Nadu, if the alliance arithmetic has mattered in the case of DMK and the Anna DMK and the third alliance, it's more because of the social coalitions that they have been able to form. So in West Bengal, is this alliance really going to do well? Depends on the chemistry at the ground. How much have they been able to convince the voter that we are together in this election for specific purposes? Now that I'm not too sure has happened.
Yeah, but it is one of the unusual factors of this election. Congress and left in a bitter fight in Kerala, but then fighting together in Kolkata. And as someone pointed out, Sitaram Yechuri almost forgot when he was in Bengal that he was actually fighting the Mamata and not the Congress, because in one of his speeches he almost slipped in and took on the Congress, then realized he was not in Kerala but in Bengal. That's happened. That's one of the many unusual things of this election. We'll go state by state, and we will also go to our reporters when we return, because as I said, there are two states that are still voting till 6 p.m. and we'll find out what's been happening. Lots of reports coming in from Tamil Nadu in particular about the use of money power during voting. That and much more. We are building up to the big numbers. Exit poll 2016 here on India Today, done by Axis APM, the team that got Bihar and Delhi spot on. I'm going to start when I look into the big numbers at the state of Tamil Nadu and some of the X factors in Tamil Nadu. Remember, this is a state where polling is still on as we speak, amidst much controversy, because in several parts there have been allegations about money changing hands being openly given to voters. I want to raise some questions. Is Jayalalitha's freebie package influencing voters along with the money? Can the DMK capitalize on flood anger and agrarian distress? Does Jayalalitha still hold sway amongst women? Who will the third front and the BJP damage more, Jayalalitha or DMK? I should have put the money power more specific in the X factor. Surjit Bhalla, the man who's come here on a roll, having got Bihar right, as did Axis APM. You predicted this morning, in general, that you believe that the Congress is on decline in this election. But let's start with Tamil Nadu. You travel there. Do you get a sense that Jayalalitha should not be written off?
Absolutely. And it is what you just mentioned. The woman voter is, she's got a hold on the woman voter and the enthusiasm with which they would support her. Plus, I would say that the people one met, I didn't meet a single person who was formally a Jayalalitha voter who was switching. So no switches whatsoever.
And traditionally the AIDMK's vote has been larger than the DMK's vote. Purely in terms of arithmetic, the AIDMK's vote on its own. However, the DMK this time has allies, the AIDMK doesn't have allies. And traditionally since 1984, since MGR. No one has been re-elected. So she faces history. She has to defeat history to win this election.
She's got a core 40% of the vote.
She has.
The others get split. So therefore, what the DMK and the Congress have to worry about is how much of the vote they get. She's got a lock on 40%.
No, there's a split which she has to benefit from, but there is anti-incumbency that she could lose from. If 40% starts declining, then she's in trouble.
That's what I'm saying. The 40% has stayed rock solid.
Yes.
2 points on this. Why it looks as if Jayalalitha has an advantage. I think the Anna DMK vote is being split between the two rival alliances. The traditional Anna DMK vote now is going partly to DMK, partly to Vijaykanth alliance. Secondly, it's also important to remember that Jayalalitha has managed to stitch together a social coalition, especially of the backward castes, and that may actually work to her advantage in this election.
You have a different take. You went to Tamil Nadu. You believe it's advantage DMK.
You know, on the ground, these could be the numbers. On the ground, I was in Tamil Nadu, at least 5 districts during the making of the flood. And I think a lot of disgruntlement, rural disgruntlement. So it did seem like a party that is a party of the rich, of the urban areas, and not that kind of hold any longer in the rural areas. So there may be that rock solid Erode and Periyar and the Tevars behind the AIADMK and the others, but on the ground things change and flood is a serious distress. And remember, Tamil Nadu is not Bihar. It does not face floods every year. It faces them sometimes. This combined with a lack of electricity, and you will not believe it, Rajdeep, large parts of Tamil Nadu today, the agrarian distress makes it look like anywhere else in the country. So it doesn't look like the state where the great welfare measures have dramatically changed the character
and
obviously
of the state. There are people, this is the tough state. On the other side, though, you've got a 93-year-old. In fact, this is the election of the 293 versus 92. You've got Achyutanandan, who's in pole position by all indications in Kerala at 92, and you've got Karunanidhi at 93. Can an option to a Jayalalitha be a 93-year-old? What does that tell us about democracy in Tamil Nadu? Or is this like Bengal? These are the 2 states where the voters believe we have no option. We are choosing between the devil and the deep blue sea. Do you get the sense that in Bengal, let's be honest, what are the options? What does someone who believes that Jayalalitha has not delivered and is not confident of a 93-year-old providing relief going to do in Tamil Nadu? Where does he go?
No, I don't think things are that bleak. I think both DMK and ADMK over decades have very solid support basis. Some of it shifts naturally.
And strong local administration which works effectively.
And I think, I haven't been to Tamil Nadu, but I think what Manisha says is absolutely right, that after the floods, the fact that you have an absentee chief minister, I'm sure that would have had some impact on the people. And we talk about 93-year-old, but I think Mr. Stalin, his son, is the one who's actually, everyone knows he's going to be the real face of the real hands-on person in the party.
Should he have been made? Should he have been made? Was there a move at all, Javed, that because of family trouble, therefore the father had to take over? Otherwise, Adagiri not campaigning, saying he won't even vote. Kanimori versus Stalin has been often spoken of. Was that the reason why Karunanidhi has been put there? Even at the age of 93, he has to be wheeled out for one last big election.
Look, let's not write him off just because he's 93. He's still the most powerful DMK leader there. And certainly Alagiri factor was one of the main reasons why he didn't go and announce Stalin's name as the guy who would be the next chief minister. It wasn't Kanimuri that much. It had a lot to do with Alagiri and his supporters, and the fact that he is still the biggest draw as far as the anti-Jayalalitha vote is concerned.
On the ground, nobody is talking about these biggies and stuff like that, the family and the dynasty. All of this is the talk of the upper stratum of Tamil Nadu, so to say. Tamil Nadu has a large rural infrastructure.
So you're saying that they're talking about agrarian distress, they're talking about water, they're talking about power, they're talking about the issues that matter. And the freebies don't influence them.
They're weighing it.
The fact that I get 8 grams of gold, the fact that I get maternity leave benefit.
I would say that they're weighing it against.
And vote for the other side.
They're weighing it against the freebies. But if these are structural distress issues, I would stick my neck and say that they're not just going for this family and that family. I think that is on the decline, and to that extent I think far greater focus should be put on what this third front is doing. If you see carefully, even Dr. Ramadosa's campaigns or the campaigns by Vijay Kant, they are taking on a different type of color. So the future of Tamil Nadu really would be a Stalin versus this front type of thing. Or
Interesting, because many believe that Ramadas can become a leader of the future, but yes.
Yeah,
2 points.
different type of campaign.
BB's thing. Remember, it started in the 1970s in Tamil Nadu, so it's had a long history in that state. Secondly, the third alliance, I think it's come together a little too late in the day to actually make the type of impact it could have made. And also remember, a lot of parties in this third alliance have been with different parties across elections. So this being able to convince the voter that we are all together is something which I don't think would be too easy, especially having come up so late in the
State that no one wants to predict is Tamil Nadu. Traditionally, this has been the psephologist's nightmare, the state which psephologists have often got badly wrong. But we will still stick our neck out today and tell you who's winning in Tamil Nadu. That's of course at 6:30 when we are allowed to do so by the Election Commission. But when we return, we've discussed Amma. We will move from there to the other big leader, Didi. How will Mamta Banerjee fare? Is the path to Mamta's return much more smoother than that of Jayalalitha? Is Mamta heading for another big victory? That's two states where the left has much at stake, West Bengal and Kerala. Let me start with West Bengal and the X factors there first. Will the arithmetic between the left and the Congress work on the ground? Will Mamta Banerjee dominate rural Bengal once again? Who will the BJP take maximum votes away from, Mamta or the Congress left alliance? Will corruption charges hurt Mamta in urban Bengal? Let me bring in our two Bengali participants on the program and get a sense from them as to where they feel their home state is going. Manini Chatterjee, can I say safely?
I'm a Bengali, but it's not my home state, and Ashok is a Punjabi, and it is his home state.
Okay. Let me ask both of you. Do you believe that it is as one-sided as some polls have indicated at the start of this election, or did it get closer as the election wore on?
I think it's very difficult, frankly, to predict Bengal because you get two diametrically opposite views depending on who you speak to. The Bhadralok Bengali, who was pretty fed up with the left 5 years ago, is now even more fed up. I mean, there's this active fear and loathing towards Mamta Banerjee of a kind which is rare in other states. But conversely,
it's not rare if you're with the Telegraph. and I've seen your newspaper virtually suggest that she's as bad, if not worse, than the left was. But
in
go
5
ahead.
years, she became as bad as 30 years of CPM rule. Something is wrong somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
But conversely, I personally feel that Mamta Banerjee's hold over the underclass, the poor, is still very much there. And since there are more poor in this country, and definitely more poor in Bengal than the middle class, I think she has the edge.
She has the edge.
And not just an edge, but it depends, because the left Congress alliance,
an edge which could easily become a wave.
and no, the left Congress alliance is an audacious attempt at two people coming together, and that sort of gave her a lot of enthusiasm to a completely, I mean, the left had become completely comatose out of what they say because of TMC terror or whatever. I think the results of 2011, it took them 2 years to even come to terms with it. So in the last phase of election, I mean, the jolt became a kind of buzzword.
Right.
But how far the jolt has percolated down to rural Bengal, I think that will take a while.
Ashok?
See, the left Congress alliance did give Mamta a run for her money in North Bengal, which is 76 seats out of 294. But in South Bengal, which is Bardhaman and below, which is 216 or 218 seats out of 294, she won with massive margins last time. So even if it cuts into her vote this time, she'll still be ahead. Trinamool won 183 seats last time in alliance with the Congress. Frankly, I would be surprised if they fall below that number.
So from what you're saying, it is clearly advantage Mamta. The possibility of a Congress left alliance actually winning an election seems remote. At best, they can cut her lead, which is what they've done in this election. They've tried to win, to at least survive the Mamta juggernaut.
And I think a key factor, which is the reason why some people are sort of confused about the result, is because the BJP did phenomenally well in 2014.
About 16%.
They got 16%.
Yeah.
And no one expects the BJP to get 16%. No. So how much of that BJP vote, where will it go? Because last time a lot of the left supporters actually are believed to have voted BJP because of the anti-Mamta feeling. So if that vote goes back, say out of 16%, say 10% go back, then it changes everything. So I mean, you know,
I
so
think
that's
the BJP vote will go everywhere, because there is an element of the North Indian vote which used to go to the Congress or the
Right.
BJP. There is an element of the anti-communist vote which could go to Trinamool or.
Can I just go to my reporter for a moment? I want to come to Kerala and go through all the states, but our reporter in Kolkata is Indranil at the moment. Indranil, Mamata Banerjee has looked very nervous at various times during this campaign, particularly after the entire Narda sting operation where her MLAs were caught on tape taking money. Does she look a little bit more relaxed? Because I'm told over the last week she's been getting numbers from Bengali news channels which have been suggesting that she's well ahead. Do you get a sense that she's a little bit more comfortable about life?
Well, one person that Mamata Banerjee is really angry on, and that we have been given to understand from within the party sources, is the Election Commission and the Chief Election Commissioner Naseem Zaidi, because she felt that there was a bit of excess that was committed by the central forces, even though it's an irony that Mamata Banerjee herself has been advocating central forces when she was in the opposition before 2011. However, she seems to be confident at this point in time. There were initial jitters when the election did begin. She had certain observations regarding the Left Congress alliance, which she felt if worked on the ground could be difficult for the Trinamool Congress. But now it seems, she is confident. One important thing that Mamata Banerjee said during her campaign rally was that the women who were, and the rural folk who were waiting for her in that scorching heat during her campaigns, they did not come there to listen to her and then make their minds. They had already decided whom to vote. And that seems to be the big factor for Mamata Banerjee going in her favor.
Okay, we will wait and see if that rural factor, Mamata's hold over rural Bengal, is what is seen as critical in this election to perhaps propel her to victory. Let's turn to a state where it's expected to be closer, the state of Kerala. Traditionally closer, where even a single % can make a big difference between victory and defeat. Remember last time the margin between the two main alliances, the Congress left UDF, the CPM left LDF, was barely a %. And so was the seats, barely a 3-4 seat difference. Let me raise the big question. Will Kerala's traditional anti-incumbency that goes back to the 1960s this time hit the Congress government? No government has been repeated in Kerala in the last 50 years. Can the Congress allies like the IUML and Kerala Congress retain their bastion? They did very well in direct contest last time against the left. Can the left recover lost ground over Chandy government's corruption issue? Which major formation, and this is seen as the big question here, will the BJP damage more in this election? It's fascinating that for the first time we are seriously looking at the BJP in a Kerala election. You this morning, Surjit, actually suggested BJP could get 6 seats in Kerala, which many believe is Surjit Bhalla again being an outlier.
No, it's not the out.
Yes.
I think the two major points in Kerala. First to note is the astounding double-digit vote that the BJP got in the national elections.
That's right, that was 2014.
That was 2014. Now, either we take the view, which is very credible, that listen, the national election has nothing to do with the state election and vice versa, and therefore we can't glean anything from that.
Yes.
I don't subscribe to that view. Second, I think to the extent that the state election is different and you go for the local parties, to the extent that the BJP vote falls from 10.8%, 2 or 3 percentage points, I think it's very unlikely that the ex-BJP voter is going to go vote for the Congress. So in which case, I think the LDF should send a thank you note to the BJP.
That's interesting.
If it wins
No, that's interesting, because the other view is that the traditional vote which is going to the BJP is the Edava vote. The manner in which they have tied up with the BDJS, which is an Edava dominated party, this is a traditional left vote. So the BJP is actually eating into the into the left vote. Do you subscribe to that the BJP could be a damager to the left, or will it damage the Congress more?
Yes, there is this traditional view that the Edava vote which went to the left is now moving to the BJP. Even if that were to be true, let's remember the UDF which banked on the minority votes may actually not get that huge consolidation of minority votes in its favor, because the voters of the minority communities will look at who can actually defeat the BJP strongly in those constituencies. So you actually may have a churning of the traditional vote bank in the state. Two quick factors, Rajdeep, in Kerala. One which we have mentioned, which we can't discount, the fact that every election in Kerala in the last 25 years has seen the ruling party being defeated. Point number two, I think the UDF is facing a serious crisis of credibility with regard to its personnel in the government, the range of corruption charges which have been there against it. So it seems to be in favor of the LDF, and let's not rule out the BJP doing well in Kasaragod and Thiruvananthapuram.
So are we
districts.
talking of the BJP actually winning seats this time?
Yeah.
Are we actually seeing the BJP
yes,
winning
yes.
seats, a couple of seats at least?
You know, one thing that
That
we
may
need
not
to
be that far.
understand, that even if this victory comes to whichever, if it comes to the LDF or the UDF, much has changed on the ground in Kerala also. The IUML, as you said, remember in Kerala, if you broke up party-wise seats, Congress was not the winner in the last assembly elections. The largest number of seats were with the CPM.
The Congress benefited from the allies doing extremely well.
And the IUML had a solid chunk coming closely behind the Congress. Now on the ground, the IUML is actually rivaled by a more radical Muslim party, and in fact the IUML is charged of having people from the other party jailed, the SDPI. So in a sense, a radical Muslim party benefits the BJP. The BJP allies not just with the Edavas, the SNDP, for example, lock, stock and barrel. The SNDP says no longer the Sri Narayan Guru image of social reform, we will go towards a more Hindu image. Now the other thing that changes alongside is that the church, the minority Christian votes that used to traditionally go for the UDF, I saw that that at the Sunday Mass there were letters, the pastoral letters that were coming out saying, yes, we said that don't vote for those who do not believe in God, but now we say that don't vote for those who will take our country towards a more communal image. So in a sense, you can see that those votes that the Congress thought were its vote bank now coming towards the LDF. On the Idava vote
interesting.
itself, a very
from
strong
what
contest.
both of you are suggesting, at least it
And a
appears
more
advantage left. So the
Advantage
best
left
news.
and some rising of the BJP cannot be discounted, though 6 is a very large number.
Do you see the BJP having targeted Kerala? The speeches that the Prime Minister has gone and made, he's addressed half a dozen rallies between him and Amit Shah, perhaps more than he certainly did even in neighboring Tamil Nadu. There seems a sense that the BJP believes that Kerala, much like Karnataka 20 years ago, is the next southern state to target.
True. See, the BJP won 11% of the vote in 2014 in Kerala and 17% in Bengal. It believes it can retain that 11% in Kerala, maybe even improve, though in Bengal it has no hope of retaining the 17%. A few days ago I spoke to a senior BJP leader who travelled to Kerala, and I said, how's the BJP doing? He said, we are in serious contention in 6 to 8 seats. So I said, really, in that case, you would be hurting the left. And he says, no, actually, there is such a strong anti-Congress mood that the left will probably still win. So that squares up with what Professor
So
Shamsi said.
effectively, the anti-incumbency against Uman Chandi spells bad news for the Congress government there.
Despite the BJP
Despite the rise of the BJP, but the rise of the BJP clearly, if it starts getting double-digit votes again, then we are seeing over the next 10-20 years Kerala politics changing forever, because
Congress books Kerala, possibly.
That's right. I mean, that is the real worry that the Congress must have in Kerala, not just losing if it loses, but also if the BJP starts making gains at the expense of the Congress.
It's the Karnataka of the future.
It's the Karnataka of the future. We'll wait and see. Keralites are sui generis, or as the Prime Minister would tell you, when you look at tribal Kerala, then you've got to also think of Mogadishu. But that's another debate for another day. We'll leave it and see whether the Prime Minister's comments have damaged the BJP in any way on the ground in Kerala.